Thank you, of course, to the chair, to the ranking member, and to our witnesses for coming today. First question to you, Mr. Adams. How much concrete does the United States use versus some of our global competitors, specifically China, on an annual basis?
How much concrete in terms of cubic yards?
Yeah, cubic yards or however you want to measure it.
We're about, I believe, about 1/10 of what China uses.
Yeah, so I've heard about the same, anywhere from 1/10 to 1/20th of what China uses. And can you just speak very briefly to the environmental standards that are in place around how we produce and use concrete versus how China is producing and using concrete at 10 to 20 times the scale we are?
I have no knowledge of the Chinese market. I can only speak to the U.S. market. The U.S. market is very much committed these days to carbon reduction, to sustainable business practices that would include use of these kinds of materials like coal ash and things like that, to reducing the amount of Portland cement, which is very intensive in terms of CO2 emissions. So the cement industry and the concrete industry both have roadmaps which are very, very similar to accomplish this carbon reduction objective that they have. And in order to do that, an important part of those roadmaps is the increased use of materials like coal ash and reducing the amount of Portland cement, which is very CO2 intensive, and causing the carbon footprint of concrete construction to come down. We're very committed to that. I don't see there's any indication that I read anywhere that the Chinese market is interested in that at all.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I would tend to agree with that. You know, so I represent Colorado's 8th congressional district, North Denver suburbs up to Greeley, Colorado, one of the fastest growing areas in the country. And so we have a massive footprint in our area dedicated to producing the raw materials that build Colorado, to include a lot of concrete and cement production in the area. And I know that our producers are working as hard as they can, because we all want clean air, clean land, and clean water. And we also have the technology these days to see where a lot of the pollution is coming from. In my area, double-digit percentages of pollution along the Colorado Front Range are coming from China. And the fact is, if we don't produce things in the United States, it's not like we get suddenly clean air, clean land, clean water. That production is going to go other places, and we're still going to inherit the pollution of that. So thank you for all of the work that the Concrete Association has done to make sure that we are being good environmental stewards here in the United States, recognizing that we are not in a vacuum, that there are other competitors around the world who do not have the same commitment to environmental or social responsibility that we have in the United States. And so I would like to hear you talk a little bit more about specifically the topic before us today, using things like coal ash or fly ash in the production of cement and then ultimately concrete. Particularly for my area, that's a major concern because of the housing shortage that we have. We know that houses need foundations. Foundations are typically built out of cement and concrete. So can you talk about the process to bring that ash to the market and how cement and concrete producers are in a position to environmentally and socially responsibly use some of these byproducts of energy production in the United States, with keeping in the back of our mind that our global competitors don't have the same commitment to environmental and social responsibility that we have?
Great question. I'll try to answer it very quickly here. The industry is working hard on carbon reduction by using, one of the most important things is using supplementary cementitious materials, of which coal ash is one. These are all materials which enhance the performance of cement that's added to concrete. Currently, in terms of fly ash and coal ash, the usage rate around the U.S. is about 15% of the total cementitious material put into concrete. In order to meet the goals of these roadmaps that I've referred to, experts in this area estimate that we're going to have to get the supplementary cementitious material content from 15% to at least 35%. So that means we're going to have to come up with new sources of materials to add to concrete to reduce the carbon footprint of our construction. And that is going to mean we're going to need things like more harvesting, a lot more harvesting, to feed the market with these materials that are going to allow them to make that goal a reality.
20 seconds. Anything else you'd like to add?
I would say that in terms of helping the industry, finding ways to support beneficial use by harvesting the material, of adjusting deadlines for closure of facilities and that kind of thing that are already operating harvesting operations would be greatly helpful instead of causing these facilities to close prematurely, leaving material in those landfills and ponds that could be removed and put into concrete and real beneficial use.
Thank you. Yield back.